Internal linking, how to use internal buffer page links. That is today's topic. My name is Chris Palmer. In today's internal linking video, how to use internal buffer links or internal buffer pages. What is an internal buffer page? How to use an internal buffer page? What is a link building strategy utilizing internal buffer pages? I don't want to waste any time. Let's get directly into it. So the very first thing is let's dissect exactly what a buffer page is. You see, when you have a website that you really want to protect, I just want to go ahead and map this out so you can get a visual representation. This is how I learn the best. And then I'll go ahead and I'll show you a live example of exactly what I'm talking about. So when you have a website, when we're talking about buffering, okay, generally you have a money site or a main website that you cherish, that you hold close to the chest. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that our websites remain safe. So a lot of times what we will end up doing is we will go out and we will set up what is called buffer pages. Now, these buffer pages can also be called tiered pages or tiering out, but I call them buffer pages. Now, what we're doing is we're buffering out the links. So I'll go ahead and just map this out briefly. I'll draw it out for you just to make it simple with a very simple diagram. And what this will do is these are linking in with varying anchor text. Anchor text is the text that's containing the backlink to your website or the hyperlink. Oftentimes, you'll mix and match this up utilizing an exact match or a phrase match, along with either branded or maybe even a naked or a generic type anchor text. With that out of the way and with that being said, what we will be doing is we are linking in, but more importantly, what we're doing out and about is we are building links very rapidly and oftentimes from lower or cheaper link sources. So this could be anything from link edits. This might even be automated. This could be press releases. This could be mass citations. This could be Web 2.0s. But what we want to do is we want to buffer out those links, because if something were to happen, if perhaps Google were to penalize that particular website, we can always shut off this power and perhaps even direct the power to our secondary buffer pages so we don't lose the link equity, we don't lose the power. However, we remain and keep our main money site safe. Now, this is the overall concept of tiering or creating buffer websites. Now let's take this concept. I've been utilizing this particular link building or internal link building strategy for a very long time, and it's highly effective. I want to introduce, if you're not already utilizing, internal buffer pages. Now, how an internal buffer page works and how it is utilized is much like external buffer pages or external buffering or tiering. So let me go ahead and just draw it out again. Stick with me. I'll share with you a live example of how I do this, maybe not to a massive extent, but I'll walk with you multiple variations of what I call an internal buffer page. So bear with me here. So an internal buffer page works like this, and I'll go ahead and give you one of my setups, but I'm sure you could be a lot more imaginative on ways that you can implement this for yourself. So let's take, for instance, we have our main website. All right, so we will go ahead and draw our main website in green because, again, this is our money site. This is a money site asset. Now, on our money site, we have multiple pages. So what we'll have here is we'll have our, and I'll see if I could draw this just a little bit better with a little bit more ease here. So we'll have our About Us. So this, we'll just put AU, About Us. We'll have our what? Contact page, correct? We'll have our blog, right? Our blog. And then we might even have a facts page, okay? Now, along with this, you'll have your XML sitemap, so XML, okay? And perhaps even a HTML sitemap. Now, I've seen this and I've done this numerous ways, but one of my favorite ways to go ahead and take care of this is on the main homepage. Now we're going to call this the homepage. On the homepage, okay, this is our homepage, just note, you're going to have a magnitude of different links. Now, generally up at the top, you're going to have your header, okay? In the body, you're going to talk about some of your most important, but also down the bottom in your foot, you're going to talk about some of your most important pages. Now, notably, I want you to take a look up here at our structure. So we have our About Us, our contact, our blog, our facts, our XML, and our HTML sitemap. Now, most of these types of links and even our important pages are going to be listed here in the header and again down here in the footer. Now, there's one particular place where we can definitely maximize or create our internal buffers. Now, where I like to do it is what is called an HTML sitemap. And the reason is very simple. On this particular page, all right, or better yet, what I generally do is you'll have your already existing and well-structured HTML sitemap, okay? Now, on your HTML sitemap, even though regardless of how many pictures you have or how it looks or whatever the case is, at the end of the day, the goal to the HTML sitemap is to map out all of the internal links. Now, that's every single URL that you have on your site. So what we're doing is you have every single URL on the website there. So that means every single page is internally linked, and it could be containing anchor text that is highly relevant to the page that it's linking to, or the best entity keyword to utilize for the page that you're pointing to. Meaning that this is pointing to, if this page right here is the dog page, okay, I have an anchor text containing the word dog pointing to an out to the same site, but a page on my website that in the main URL, the title, and the H1 is about dogs. I hope that makes sense to you. Now, let's get to the internal link buffering portion of this particular video. So if I have my HTML sitemap -2, or maybe even HTML sitemap, what we can do is, because this is already internally linked to every page on the entire site, what we can do is we can then go out and start creating a relatively large amount of external backlinks coming in with varying anchor text, but at scale backlinks, so BL backlinks coming into this HTML sitemap page in order to go ahead and internally link to every single page on the website. Now, why is this generally a really good idea depending on the velocity that you'll be building your external links in? The reason why I really like utilizing this particular strategy, internal buffer linking, is because A, I control the links on my site. I control the anchor text on my site. Two internal links is almost equivalent to an external link of equal or greater value, right? So of equal power. So if I have a DR60 site, two of those internal links is just like me passing an external link out. So if I'm able to build out a page on my website, link to every other page on the entire website, and I can blast in a large amount of backlinks, and something were to happen to this particular page, like perhaps a unnatural link building penalty or a penalty, we have to note that penalties are generally carried page by page and not site wide, especially if it's going to be unnatural link building. So if something were to happen and I have a page that I've just created just for this in order for link building, people build out blog pages called link magnets all the time. It's been a strategy since the dawn of time. So why wouldn't I take this to the next step, link to every single page and power in links? Let me show